your face off, but they still also come with some nasty bioweapons as well. But it's become, I don't know, actually quite good for the game in general, because the combat mechanisms and the gameplay mechanics, we've had to essentially delve into all the sides of it, because you've got to have a army that can do well and fight well with melee focus, and an army that can do well and fight well with range focus. So we couldn't just build a game mechanic that worked well with just mostly XCOM type mechanics where it's shooting and occasionally stab someone in the face. It's got to work both way around. So it's actually, I think it's stretched the team, but I think it's done the better for it.
Yeah. Do you want to jump in gameplay and start looking at some of it?
I think it's the easiest way to look at it, yeah. It's easy to talk about. So for people watching, a reminder that they're in Milan, I'm in London. I'm a little bit behind. So if I'm talking about something that's just gone, that's why. Yeah. And also, don't forget, I can't hear the sound effects, which you guys should do. So where we're kind of starting off here is we're on Ball Secundus, or Ball 4, with the kind of second moon of the Ball system. This particular mission, you're basically going through and trying to kick some tyranids out of some nasty net reclamation pools where they've been getting all the biomass out of these nice people who used to live on Ball, who are famously bloodthirsty lunatics making perfect recruits for the Blood Angels. But they're still dead, so they're still being reclamated. So what Paul's kind of showing you through here is all the different stats and the attributes of the UI. This is our main hero of the game, Sergeant Carleon. He's a sergeant who would usually just be leading a scout company, training them up in normal times of war. But it's obviously all rather gone interesting at the moment. So he's been tasked with taking the new Primaris legions and basically seeing, are they worthy? Can they stand as true soldiers to the end for the Blood Angels? So that was the first bit. Obviously he comes along with a Astartes chainsword and bolt pistol. He gets caught in both. Uses them to shoot some termagants in the face. And that's the kind of thing. All of our units either have multiple weapons at once or can switch out load ups for different weapons. So your intercessors can have bolt rifles or auto bolt rifles. You'll find some assault marines later on who can have hand flamers or bolt pistols to come along with. So we want to try and get as much of the feeling of the tabletop as possible, so you can build out your army and use it as best you can. So yes, so he's going through here. He's going to use some intercessors to help some of these venom thropes regret their actions. Yes. So you go through. You've got some aggressors units. So mostly, the settings of the game is, I said, it's after Ball, so basically they're recovering, and the Blood Angel is kind of a story of how can Blood Angels take all that beating on the planet of Ball and then come back and find themselves in these new bodies, these new people who've just suddenly come out of Call's antechamber and are now suddenly calling themselves Blood Angels. Who are these people? But yeah, so you find most of the units are new Primaris, whereas other people are. You have a few people like Carleon and the Sanguinary Priest you saw over there, who are old school Marines and dealing with it. And you see there, someone did a classic moment of surviving on 1 hit point, a lot of Mr. Venonthrope. But yes, each of the kind of races, factions, comes with a couple of unique abilities. So you saw there the Tyranids have Endless Hunger as theirs, the Blood Angels have Red Thirst as theirs, and each of those kind of powers up the units differently. So as you get involved and do more damage, which some people have already noticed the momentum, that's kind of a system that encourages action. You gain momentum by killing units or doing whatever your faction likes you to do, and then you can spend that on surges, so you gain extra points or upgrade your units in different ways. But each faction has a different way of approaching it, a different way of using it.
On the move.
Yeah, so you've got units got Overwatch. Overwatch is kind of range and sector. So you basically say, I want to overwatch this sector, either north, northwest, northeast, and to this range. So you can sort of say, I only want to shoot people who actually come within 2 tiles of me in this sector. So you don't end up doing like accidental overwatch on someone who's miles behind you didn't really want to shoot. And also you'll notice lots and lots of blood. Yeah, they've not skimped on the slight grim darky bit. You see there, he's basically taking a choice. He's going into Overwatch, decided to cancel it because he wants to actually turn around and finish off these Hormagaunts instead, which is a nice thing. If you're not just locked into your Overwatch, you can take it back if you want to.
Got it.
And he also changed facing because your facing matters. Most of the vehicles have better armor to the front than they do to the back. This is Brother Arturo, who's kind of one of our other primary characters, who's a sanguinary priest, and he can go around. He's basically almost like a main buff character.
Right. I think this next clip is the longest one we've got. It's about 12 minutes, 11, 12 minutes long, so you'll see a lot more stuff happening.
Can you give me a pause? I get a glass of water, Marco.
I'm sorry?
I have no glass of water. And I'm choking. So you have to keep talking for 2 minutes. Back in a second.
Yeah, don't worry. David's talking. David's drinking a little bit, so I'm trying to answer some of the questions in the chat in the meantime. Other races in the game. Right now, the game is really set on Baal, so it's actually a campaign game, mainly a campaign game about the Blood Angels against Tyranids. So, but the system is, of course, pretty flexible. So who knows what's going to happen in the future?
Yes. Sorry about
and
that.
I've got the other questions noted. So about editor, about levels, and terrain elevation. I've got fog of war. So we'll address all these later on.
Yes.
Let's jump into the next video, and maybe some of these questions will be answered already.
Yes. So what we've got to do with this video is basically going to go back to that same map, but we've got to play it differently. Kind of show that there's no one way through this. It takes a kind of a judgment call as to how to do it differently. So in the last time we played through, it's reasonably simple. We kind of mostly just used running and attacking. For what it's worth, if you look on the side edges there, you'll see the glowing bits. They're kind of the edge of your field of view. So your fog of war is outside the Auspex range, which you can sort of see as the glowing edges on the map. So each unit has an Auspex scanner, and they cast a view. Anything outside of that you can't see. So this time we're going to play through. We're going to use a few more skills, a few more advanced gameplay elements. So again, if you look here, he's got the bolt rifle selected. If you right-click on any unit, you can basically get details about the unit and exactly what will cause me to hit that unit hard. So in that case, the guys shooting out the Termagants have a base evasion stat. Your troops have a base accuracy stat, which changes depending on whether you're in a kind of the hot zone for your weapon. Some weapons like those plasma incinerators have a hot zone that's further out than a bolt pistol, so they're much more likely to hit at those sort of ranges, which kind of helps again your Tyranids, who you melee focus. If they can get up close to somebody, they're actually taking away a lot of the accuracy of people with long guns. Whereas again, your people with your shorter range weapons, like your auto bolt rifle, want to be closer than your normal bolt rifle. And each kind of, as people have been saying, yes. So basically, lots of these stats are depending on the map. So elevation bonuses and things like that to give you basically boosts to hit. And each time you hit, you'll do a range of damage, or if you crit, you'll do more. If you get a graze, so if your weapon doesn't do much piercing damage, and you're going against a unit that has a lot of armor, you often get grazes or misses, which basically do very small amounts of damage. You saw a crit pop off there. There's one of those Hormagaunts got it rather hard. And also the thing you saw there was one of the key bits of the melee system. So the first Assault Marines there, they charged into battle. So if you charge someone, they don't get a chance to hit you back. If you just stood next to someone and you attack them in melee, they get a chance to hit you back afterwards. Whereas if you charge in, the impact doesn't let them. If you charge in really heavy, there's a good chance you actually push them back. So a charge from an aggressor will often push, say, Hormagaunts back a tile because they hit them so hard. Whereas, in that situation, we chose, rather than run around and then give them a chance to battle back, just burn them with a flamer instead. So here are our Landspeeder. Landspeeders are very fast, good scout units. This variant has kind of an electronics package for helping other units. There's another variant which has an assault cannon for taking out people. And yeah, facings you can either give when you're playing, or you can basically just point to a location, right-click, drag, and you can set your facing immediately. Splat. You'll notice there a little bit at the bottom, command points. So each of your commanders has access to things called command points. You'll see it just pop up in the corner there. Command points give access to super special skills that you unlock as you go through the campaign. I don't think we've got to show them here. We've got to leave them for another video, but they're quite cool. So yeah, this one here, our sergeant he's an assault marine, so he's gonna light his jumps, get in there, and punch some Venomthropes in the face. And again, because it was a charge, the Venomthropes don't get a battle back. So he doesn't get immediately punched. He is, however, stood in that toxic cloud, which is going to hurt him next turn if he's not careful. So again, this land speeder, these are mostly scout units. The heavy bolt is not great, especially not against little hordes of tiny guys that will do a bit of chip damage, but it's not great for killing people off. Whereas your brother Arturo here, he's got his bolt pistol and his Astartes chainsword, but he's not the guy you really want on the front lines. But he can do one of the things like add more momentum units to make them much more likely to surge and therefore get their bonus AP or get their in-battle upgrades. So there you go. If you notice this time he'll get a chainsword in, this time it's not a charge, so that Venomthrope gets a little swing back at him and misses. Yeah, which is fortunate. He gets, because he used his jump back this turn, he's got a boost to his agility, which makes him much harder to hit. So we go through other units. One thing people have asked about is zone of control. So every unit with a melee capability exerts a zone of control in front of it, like the 3 squares in front of it. If you try and pass through that Zoc without suppressing the unit first, there's a good chance he'll punch you in the face backwards. I think Carlio will do all right though. Actually, he's reasonably tough, so I think you'll find he'll survive quite well. That land speed is suffering a bit more. As you see there, these guys are trying to skirt around him, and because they're going through his Zoc, he gets some attacks of opportunity, which causes them some serious issues. As there you go, Venomthrope getting a bit up and close and personal with the players there. So this is all alpha stuff. So the AI is still being worked on, so it does some clever things. It does some less clever things, but that's all part of where we're at with the game. You'll notice that the tyranids get little blue glows around them. Some of the smaller tyranids get a bonus of basically hunting impacts. So if there's multiple end tiles around each other, they kind of go into their slightly more effective state, which isn't particularly great still. As you can see, termagants don't do that much damage to a lot of hellblasters in their armor, but they will eventually chip through people. So yeah, so special abilities, they kind of, each unit has a set number. If you're playing a skirmish, you can just use all of them. But if you're playing in a campaign, they're kind of unlocked as you go through the campaign, but you can choose which ones to take, so it's not the same every time. So sometimes you might take the intercessor's abilities, or sometimes you might go, do you know what, I'm just going to skip intercessors entirely and just take all the aggressor abilities and unlock them as you go.
I am the sword of Sanguinius.
There you go, got a bit of punching, but we get to go back into it. The one thing our heroes get is the heroes get more AP than the normal units get, which gives them more ability to go and do some more dangerous power moves. So he's powered up his sword there, so he's going to walk over there and go, one hit kill, goodbye, and good night. And he's probably going to be helped out by his intercessors to clean up that area around him. So the reason why we're pushing down this flank in this particular level is that we got 2 objectives up in the top right there. So basically one mission is kill that Tyrannofex. The other one is to go and recover the gene seed of Sergeant Pentasio, who was Brother Arturo's previous commander, who was in the rather nasty battle here. So Brother Arturo is coming back to recover his gene seed for the Blood Angel repository, which is why we're trying to punch a hole through him so we can go over there and do a bit of narthesiuming to stab his thing in sec, get his progenoid out, and get his tick his box.
His legacy will endure within the angelic host.
And that's the Tyrannid effects over in the corner, I think. So his land speed here is in a bit of trouble. It's not really where we want to put it, because if he moves away from there, those Hormagaunts go get an attack of opportunity. So actually his best strategy there might be to hold still, get him wait for his friends to come and bail him out. There's a reasonable chance that if he runs away, he's going to get hurt. So you can see there that aggressor has got these swords on him, which indicates he's going to get an attack of opportunity if someone goes for it, but instead he's doing a sensible thing of just going and punching first. And aggressors punch hard. Yeah, there's these trying to fix the background, which is basically by punching that Venom Throat, he kind of lifted some of the engagement penalties on his Hellblasters, which meant he could then get a much better shot at the Tyrann effects in the background. The Apothecaries, yes, it's got Sanguinary Priests rather than Apothecaries, because we're in Blood Angels. And yes, you can pull up a map to represent the entire battlefield. So you see there, that was the Intercessors. They get frag grenades, and that's the kind of the perfect shot for frag grenades. Really, a load of Termagants all clustered together, which led to a nice kill. Because the units are a distance away from the enemy, they didn't get as much momentum. You get more momentum for getting up close and personal, but still did quite healthy out of it. He's just going chip away at those guys. So what I keep saying, man, this is alpha footage, and we're all just going into beta. So all this gameplay might change, or it might stay the same. You'll find out if you join the beta. We really appreciate people joining our beta to give us their feedback to make sure this is the best game we can be. So please do go along and sign up. So he got the Assault Marines to the classic tactic of jump behind and chop someone in the back. Lots of crits, lots of death, lots of blood, and his mates are going to come over and help as well. So you see there, you notice he had full four shield. That's because if you tried to shoot him, he was right behind that rock thing. You won't be able to see him. But this game is very authored, and we want to bring in random maps kind of later when we've got more time to focus on them as a thing. Black Lab games don't like doing things by halves.
Yeah, I think one of the elements here is that, because we're trying to create a deep tactical game, random maps could basically put you into very weird situations, and not like orthodox for balancing units and making sure that everything in the tactical view of the game is balanced and works well.
We'll definitely come back to them, but they're not in there for day one.
Yeah. There's a third clip, right?
Yes, there is. The third clip is kind of, this is essentially what many people will see of their first view of the game. This is essentially mission 1. As Corleon introduces himself and to his new Primaris people who he's there to bail out because they've got themselves into a bit of trouble. Yes, it's only short, but it gives you a good flavour of a different environment and more early action.
Ready to strike.
So our friendly Primaris guys find themselves in a bit of trouble defending a chapel here, with tyranids closing in from all sides. So it's not just the tyranids you see in front of you; they tend to keep turning up from out of your Auspex scan range. You can see there he's kind of trying to plan his best move. He's got a 1 shield attack on those units, or he can try and move through. But if he moves through, he gets an attack of opportunity. So instead, he changes his mind. Instead of taking a shield attack, puts it on Overwatch, so that when those guys come through, we'll take a shot at them. The other thing with Overwatch is there's a kind of a threshold system of lots of places in the game where if you hit someone really, really hard, there's a good chance you'll interrupt them or stun them. So if they come into Overwatch and they get hit really hard, there's a good chance you'll basically strip them of their movement points and action points and really stop their charges in its track. And so we're here, Corleone is basically going to go in there and give these guys a bit of a lesson and introduce himself to the campaign. So here these robots try and run away, they don't do a particularly good job of it, and they get suppressed because they took beyond the threshold of damage, so actually they lose their turn.